Insurance agents from around the world, welcome to the Insurance Guys podcast. My name is Scott Howell, your fearless host and leader, insurance agency owner and insurance evangelist for I Protect Insurance and Financial Services, based in Huntsville, Alabama. And before we get started on today's episode, please help me welcome. He is a 6'3" sophomore from Mobile, Alabama. Parade first team All-American, Rivals 5-star recruit. He is a fantastic insurance agent and a great American. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and welcome the incomparable Mr. Bradley Flowers. How are you, Bradley?
Confused.
Well, guys, today's the day. Told y'all I was going to do it. Nobody ever believes me when I tell them I'm going to do something. Today, ladies and gentlemen, I introduce you to Moon Creek Farms Distillery and Fine Spirits.
I now know.
Bradley?
I'm no longer confused.
I will kiss your ass and give you 30 minutes to draw a crowd if what you are about to taste is not better than the wine that we got from Gary V. Okay. Now, let me explain before we do the taste test. I have 4 judges standing and sitting before me. Thank you for being a part of this today. I know you'll enjoy it.
You're not like a recovering alcoholic or anything, are you? Okay.
I probably should have asked that before I got into this. So, all natural ingredients, spring water from Pine Ridge, Alabama. All ingredients are natural except the Domino sugar that I used. I'm not getting into the sugar business, but I am getting into the wine and moonshine business. I have asked Santa Claus to bring me a 10-gallon from North Georgia Steel Company, which, by the way, this is not cheap, a moonshine still that I'm going to start producing moonshine with beginning in January of 2026. What you are about to taste is the first iteration of wine from the Moon Creek Wine Distillery at my house. Everything that was used besides the sugar came from there, the spring water, everything. Now I'm gonna back away from the microphone for just a second so I can pour each one of you a glass. I put this on ice. Let me tell you how to drink it, because you got 2 bottles to take home with you, 2 quart bottles. Okay?
Oh, wow.
Put it in the fridge. For about an hour. Let it chill down. I put this on ice, so it should be cold. And then when you take it out, when you pour it, put just a cube or 2 of ice in it and drink it that way. Okay?
I'm really glad.
Hold on.
I thought Cole was about to get a lap dance or something. I didn't know what was happening.
Cole is going to be a judge and tell us if it's any good. Rand, you're going to be a judge. I'm going to be a judge. Actually, I'm probably not a judge because I'm partial.
So you
and
made
then Bradley.
this yourself?
Made it myself.
How long did it take?
I made 2 5-gallon batches in May of 2025, and I bottled them, I believe it was last weekend. So that's 6 months that it's been. No, it's spring water. The property I live on has a bunch of natural springs on it, so it came. See, guys, let me tell all you insurance agents something. For all you whiskey drinkers out there, there's 2 things you got to have to make great whiskey. You got to have water that runs through limestone, which it does in Kentucky, and you got to have great corn. You got to have good corn and good water. So I've got the water and I've got the corn, but in this case, I also have a bunch of fruit like blueberries and hackberries and things that grow at my house. So I'm currently trying to grow grapes at my house. Do you know how long it takes for freaking grapes to get up to where you can damn use them? Jason,
3 years, isn't it?
Our all-star guest just came on. Hold on. Our all-star guest just came on. You're going to have to hold on just a second. I have just introduced to them my first iteration of Moon Creek Farms Distillery's first wine batch. We're about to have a tasting live on the Insurance Guys podcast. So hold on just a second. I'm going to go ahead and pour everybody a cup here. Hold on. Just a sampling.
Just a little Whitman sampler.
Just a little Whitman sample. Hold on.
I had no idea this was happening, Jason, until it happened.
gonna try the wild berry. Still ice cold. Just came out of the ice.
Have you?
Here it is. Where can I see this on? So I don't have the labels yet. They're being made right now that talks about all the natural ingredients.
I have a very important question.
Look at that. Bottled on 10/11/25. You asked when I bottled it.
No. Have you ingested this before?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Good.
Lots.
Makes me feel
Okay.
Just making sure before I also ingested it. I wanted to make sure, that you.
I mean, we got kids and stuff, man. It's things you got to be thinking about,
I just don't want to be, I don't want to be spooning with the toilet all night, or get put in the hospital.
And I was very particular about cleanliness, so there's one for you.
We're going to be like, man, Cole just really messed up his quotes this afternoon.
Here you go, Mr. Flowers.
Okay.
Moon Creek Farms Distillery. First run, first batch of what this is called wild berry. Rand?
I'm getting a little cotton candy on the nose. A little cotton candy on the nose. You could have phoned some of this to Jason. He could have partook.
Well, I was supposed to be there, but that was my fault. I was really looking forward to it.
Okay. Now.
Yeah, you could have had 5
I'm
jugs.
back. You're okay. Let's all take a swig and just see where we are.
I'm joking.
It's natural spring water.
It's actually really good.
I bet it is.
Great job.
Thank you.
Great job.
My first run.
It's
It's called wild berry.
It's kind of like a White Claw, but with no carbonation, but a little bit more. White Claw
You can
is
taste
like
the alcohol in it.
Yeah, a White Claw is like the flavors in a White Claw. It tastes like vodka and somebody's whispering watermelon in your ear while that's the level of flavor. You could actually taste it. It's pretty good. Yeah.
Hey, I've had a lot worse.
Yeah.
I didn't like that wine Gary V made. I think this is a lot better than that.
It's good. It's good. Sorry, Jason.
No problem,
you
man.
just
I mean,
jumped
it's
right in the middle of.
You know what it kind of has a hint of to me, guys? And you help me out if you don't believe me, because y'all were all in high school. It's got a little Mad Dog 2020 hint to it.
Yeah.
But by the way, this is made at my house.
Have you tested the proof?
No, I haven't tested the proof. No, we might get shit-faced drunk if we keep drinking this. I don't know.
I don't think
Keep doing it and make it better.
I don't think the proof. It tastes like a wine cooler. That's what it tastes. But I don't think the proof is real high. But if they sell the little sticks. It looks like a thermometer, and you put it in it, and it tells you what the proof is.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
You have to do that with moonshine.
Yeah.
Because you've got the tails, and you've got you want to keep, you kind of, the front end of moonshine when you start, because that's my next endeavor is to really get into moonshine. I'm going to sell that. And if somebody wants to arrest me, shout out to the Morgan County Sheriff's Department. If y'all want to arrest me for making moonshine, when I got 500 crackheads that live around me, you can kiss my ass. But I am going to start making 10-gallon batches of moonshine. Now, the front end, the head of moonshine is rocket fuel. You put that in a damn jet.
Wow.
So you can't drink that. And you can't drink the tails because towards the end,
That's where all the crap is.
it's just not got as much, what did you call it? Where you test it? The
proof.
The proof. It doesn't have as much proof. So you kind of want the middle batches. So you'll throw out the first, you'll throw out the end, and then the middle, and you're testing it the whole time. Moonshine, it's an art. It's going to take me a while. Moonshine's not something you can just.
Yeah. I have a very important question. Who is handling the product liability on this wine?
Right now, nobody.
Okay. All right.
But if I do start selling it, I was going to give it away for Christmas presents. But I'm telling you, you chill this.
So I used to play in a golf tournament in Monroe County. And Monroe County is a dry county. So they could not sell alcohol. at the golf tournament.
Right.
But what they figured out is that they could get Michelob to sponsor it. And instead of giving money, they gave away eons and eons of cases of beer. So they figured out a dry county just means you can't sell it. You can give it away, though.
Gotcha.
And it was funny because everybody got way more intoxicated than if they just sold it because it was all free.
Oh, 100%.
That's a good deal.
And ladies and gentlemen, we have an all-star guest on. I apologize that I had to interrupt the podcast to have our
No, that was great.
our
If
wine.
you would like to see the color, guys, sorry.
Yeah.
If you'd like to go over to YouTube and subscribe to YouTube while you're at it.
It's kind of a watermelon color.
I'm gonna savor it.
I'm telling you, it makes you a little warm in your, you know. We got an all-star guest on today, guys. He's one of the OG. He is the OG podcaster in the insurance industry. He is a friend of mine. I love him so much. I don't think I've ever told him this. I'm just going to tell him now. But I love his energy. I love the energy he brings, and I love the fact that, you know, in an industry that can sometimes, I think, as he so eloquently put it one time, be stale, male, and pale, he always brings the noise. He doesn't know this, but I listen to at least one or two of his podcasts a month on Spotify, and I keep up with him a whole lot more than he keeps up with me, but I want to give him the introduction that he's always deserved. Ladies and gentlemen, he was born in Phoenix, Arizona. He's moved all over the United States, and he landed in St. Louis, Missouri in the 8th grade. He currently resides in Edwardsville, Illinois. He is married to the beautiful Andrea Cass, and he has two sons who are 20 years old and 26 years old. So he's like me. He's an empty nester and enjoying walking around the house naked and having hot, dirty monkey sex with his wife whenever he wants to, which I love. You know, he's always been a big advocate of this industry. And like me, he believes it's the greatest industry that God ever created. He says, I do not see myself as an insurance agency owner. I see myself as someone who is dedicated to the insurance industry as a whole. And I kind of feel like that about myself as well. So we're kind of kindred spirits there. He, you know, started back in, I believe, 2002 in the industry and was in his basement working for, I believe, a year of a non-compete back in 2010. And then really started the agency up going full speed in 2017, 2018. And now he's bought a couple of agencies, much like my friend Bradley Flowers sitting beside me. And in 2025, he has 3 locations in Centralia, Illinois, Edwardsville, Illinois, and Greenfield, Indiana. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my profound honor today to introduce to you the OG podcaster in the insurance industry, one of the leaders of the industry, and one of the guys that has always fought the good fight, my friend, Mr. Jason Cass. How are you, Jason?
Fantastic, my friend. Fantastic. And thank you very much, Scott. You may not know this about me, but as I scroll through TikTok, I just sit there and I flip. But if it says in the little bottom corner that Scott shared this, those are the ones I always stop.
I do the same thing.
Those ones.
It's like, oh shit, what's he done now? I think Bradley keeps like a farmer's almanac calendar on when I'm going to get canceled. like he's just waiting on the video that finally gets me canceled, and he has to call me and go, hey, you know that podcast we did for about 7 or 8 years? Yeah, that's over.
Yeah. Spotify took us down.
So it's not even the ones that you do, Scott. It's the ones that you share.
Yeah.
Even if you share them, I'm like, oh boy, Scott shared this.
It's either going to be something really cool, something really like nostalgic. You like sharing nostalgic stuff, or something just like so off the wall, absolutely crazy. And and you know,
that's right.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Scott will send these. I'm in a group chat with Scott and a few other people, and Scott will send these like 6-minute long videos, and I'll watch all of them, and then I'll let the group know, hey, this one's worth watching.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, this is worth.
You gotta watch
this is worth a watch.
Because sometimes it's just like stuff you got to get off your chest, and you know,
right.
and what I figured out on Facebook Messenger, if somebody sends you a video on Facebook Messenger, if you open on your desktop, you can watch it 2x speed. You can't do that on the phone, but anyway.
Jason Cass, it's been a while since you and I were in the same room together. Tell me, over the last 2 years, what in the world have you been up to, and kind of bring us up to today? Well, I know one thing you've been up to is buying the shit out of some insurance agencies. I know that.
Well, yeah, that was actually 2017, and then that was back in 2022. So since then, I've just been building my own. To be honest with you, sometimes that influx of cash is nice, but also the growth that you get to build intentionally the way you want to build also is just as good. It just doesn't come as quick. So, I do what I do. Because I do it for you. That's what I always end my podcast with, because I try to find things in the insurance industry. I say this a lot, so if anybody's heard me speak, I've went places that I never thought that I'd go. I've met people that I never thought that I would meet, and I've given my family the life I never thought that I could give them because of this industry. And I feel obligated that one of these days, whenever I sell my business, I want somebody to be able to buy it and have that same feeling that they never thought they had. So I feel obligated, and I literally use that word the correct way there, to put my best foot forward for the industry all the time. And in the last 2 years, one of the things I've really been dedicated towards is IndieTech. And IndieTech has been something that's been important to me. It is to what I say, the only true technology show for independent agents. Now, I say that because when you go to Applied, you're learning about Applied's product. When you go to Vertafore, you're learning about their product, or Hawksoft. I like to call IndieTech Switzerland. It's 100% neutral. All those companies that I just mentioned, they're a huge sponsor of ours, but it's okay that we talk good or bad about them as long as we're being real as to what's being done best for the independent insurance system. So we started it back in 2023. The very first year I had it, we had around 120 people, and a hurricane came through and came all the way up through Indiana and pretty much wiped out about 2/3 of it. It was crazy. Didn't lose much money. Wasn't too bad.
A couple speakers.
Last year in 2024, we decided to do it again in Indiana, and a different month, in a different week of that month, and a hurricane came right through and took it out again. Literally could not make that up, and I lost about $47,000 of my own money. My wife said, Jason, you make a better insurance agency owner than you do event planner, okay? And she was right about that. But I told her, if we're going to do it, the only way I'm doing it again is we're going to move it to January, because if there's a hurricane in January in Florida, we got much bigger worries in the world.
I'm glad you clarified January, because having hurricane problems 2 years in a row and then moving it to Florida is not, that doesn't sound great, but...
That's what Andrea said too.
Jason, what are the dates and location for this IndieTech conference in January?
January 27th, 28th, and 29th in beautiful Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Actually Hollywood, Florida, but it's Fort Lauderdale, everybody who knows, at the Margarita Resort and Spa.
Ooh,
it's going to be fantastic. Right now, we have around 300 people registered. We're limiting it to 400, so we still got 3 months away, and we are really rocking. The event is 2 different events. The first day and a half is what we call Brain Share. That's an event I've been doing for 10 years. That thing sold out in less than 2 days when we opened it. Then the next day and a half is actually IndieTech, and that's where we have the trade show. We have 27 classes of agents who are teaching other agents. It's one thing I learned from IAOA is that they did well. They took consultants and speakers off the stage, and they actually put agents on there teaching other agents, because that's who we believe when we see them use technology. And then we only have 2 panels. We've got the normal panel of like the big companies and hearing all the boring shit they say. And then we've got the real panel, which is going to be led by the one and only Bradley Flowers. I told Bradley, I said, Bradley, I want you to do this. You can have any people you want, and you can talk, and everything, he can say whatever he wants. He has no
I'm just going to make
limitations
the panelists sit there and listen to me rant for 45 minutes. It's funny, because it's one thing that I get frustrated about with certain state associations, not all associations, but certain associations, is, you know, the last 4 years there's never been a time where agents felt like they were in a war zone more than the last 4 years. Interest rates are up,
Amen to
rates are up. It's hard to find good help. It's hard to find good employees. Vendors are, you know, $50 you to death, and your state association comes in to help, and they're like, "Hey guys, we've got the perfect guy to show you how to run an insurance agency. Please welcome to the stage, Kirk Herbstreit." Like, and it's like, nobody wants to hear a retired football player, like, you know. And it's like, show me somebody that can actually tell me how to run my business better, you know.
Right.
And that's where I feel like you and IOA back in the day got it right. And I don't think, like, you've got a good mix of non-agents too. I don't think you should have just agents.
Correct.
You know, I also don't think you should have just vendors. You know, I don't love the whole, you know, there's conferences out there that the speakers actually pay to speak. Like, that's not good. I think you're asking for trouble by doing that. Your audience is just going to get pitched to. So I feel like I disagree with Andrea. I think you are a good event planner.
Well, thank you very much. I'll be sure to tell her that.
Please tell her I said that. Actually,
she
tell her
knows that I
Scott said
enjoy
that.
it. Now, one of the things you said about vendors, and that's important to mention. So any vendors, we do have a couple that are coming. We ask that they have to have power users there, and they have to use their agency as the example when they're explaining their product.
Right.
So that's the key. They can't just show their product and say, here's how we do a demo. No, the agent has to be there, and the agent has to stand up as well. So that's how we kind of prevent that stuff. I want vendors to tell us about their product.
Yeah.
Just don't give me the damn demo.
Yeah.
You know?
Hey,
Yeah.
hey, Jason. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you're good.
I was going to say, for you and Bradley, I had one quick question, and I know, you know, a little bit of a tightrope here because of the conference, and you mentioned Switzerland, but I guess for the agents that are listening to this podcast right now, just to kind of help them today, because you and Bradley both are so tech forward, and you're so good at it, and you study it, and you research, and you use technology about as well as anybody in the industry. What are some technologies that you guys are bullish on right now? Because Bradley, it's been 4, 5, 6 months since you and I really talked about this, and I know you really stay up on it, and I know Jason does too. But what are some techs that you guys are like, damn, I want to try this out and use it, or something
I'll let Cass go first.
I have given, the best way I could say it is legacy work. In 12 months from now, call me back, and I promise you, everybody will be talking about what I'm giving away for free right now. It's absolutely for free. It's called the Logic Routing Engine. No one's built it. No one's developed it except for me. You can go to agencyintelligencemanual.com and get it for free. I literally have a 77-page report that I made for everybody out there that actually shows you how to route things to the right place, the right task at the right time. No one out there is doing it. I just got back from ITC. I think there's a lot of good stuff out there. I'm going to walk away from you and tell you this. Everything I saw, I realized is not created by an agent. So there's technology that's just very duct taped together. And when I was at ITC, I literally walked through it. Mitch and I did, and we're like, that's not going to work. How's that going to work with this? And so right now, I think I see the bubble coming. And I see that a lot of those people that are ITC will not be there next year or the year after, because they came up with this technology that was cool in some other industry. So they decided to jump in the insurance industry, and it's kind of setting a lot of people up for failure. If I was somebody right now like we are, chill out on buying a lot of stuff, do a lot of research. And here's the other thing before I kick it over to Bradley. Don't just listen to what the agent down the road says, because he probably used it for about 1 month and it worked 1 or 2 times, and they want to be the cool guy or cool gal.
Worked. Yeah.
And now you're going to go spend money on this damn thing, and it's not going to work. That's the best that I can say.
Yeah. You mentioned ITC, so I'm just going to, I've had some wine, so I'm going to
there you go.
let some
pour
stuff hang,
pour you some more if you'd like.
I've been slow. I have nothing against the folks at ITC. I've met with them. They're good folks, but I've been silently boycotting ITC for the last few years because and I'm just trying to point out objectively point out something funny. Yeah, I got probably 50 messages last week. Are you here? Where are you at? Whatever. Because I tweeted a joke that I tweet every single year, that if you're looking for the agent track at ITC, it's in the basement of the Luxor. Everybody knows the Luxor is a terrible hotel.
Hey, is this that conference?
Yeah, that's that. Yes, that one. Yeah, it's that one.
They sent me an email and I didn't know what it was.
Yeah, it's that one.
Yeah.
So here's my problem. All right, here's my problem. Okay. Everything was DTC for 3 years.
What does that mean?
Direct to consumer.
Everything
was anti-agent. These are the people that are going to disrupt. And then, like three years ago, the attendance was down. And all of a sudden, it's like, hey, agents, guess what? We've got an agent track now, which is very representative of actual InsurTech.
Right.
If we look at Lemonade, if we look at Hippo, if we look at all of the early anti-agent InsurTechs, eventually they came back around. So that's sort of my, and I'm not saying I'll never go. I'll probably eventually go. I certainly see a lot of value. I've met with what Scott was referring to as ITC sent me and Scott an email a couple years ago, and I let my thoughts be known in this email, and we ended up meeting with the people who are in charge over there. But what I also heard a lot last week, Cass, is people that reached out to me, hey, are you here? No, I'm not here. Several times, I'd rather just go to IndieTech. It's more geared towards me.
Wow,
so
that's
yeah,
powerful. Thank you. That's cool.
So tech that I like the boring stuff. I'm a real fan of the boring stuff, because if you can solve the boring problems, you can solve the more important problems. And I think there's too many tech companies out there that try to build this like new flashy thing that you've never heard of, and this is going to change the world. And there's really not a lot of foundation there. Something that a struggle for us as an agency of 15 employees, licensed in 20 states, is managing licenses and things like that. And we've tried a couple of the license services. It just didn't work. Turris is one. I don't know if you've seen Turris.
Spell that.
Turris.
By the way, they're not paying us a dime, so don't start this bullshit about.
They are a licensed compliance company for the carriers, but what they're doing is they're charging the carriers and the MGAs, and they're giving it to the agents for free. So it's essentially like a license management program for your employees. Like it's stuff like that I really like things that you can tie up some loose ends on the internal operations of my agency. I don't have to roll it out to everybody. It's something we can use. So that's something that you just asked, something I've seen recently. That's something I've seen recently that I really liked.
That's nice.
That was a long answer. I apologize.
I'll tell you what, my license expires. My individual Alabama license expires in I think January 31st of 2026. About August, these damn CEU companies started emailing me. You know, better CEs like, did you know your license is expiring in Alabama in January of 2026? It's almost impossible to forget. You know what I'm saying? Because every 2 weeks you're getting a new.
When we signed up originally with ILSA to manage our licenses, and the reason I did it is I had a buddy who had an employee that did all of her CE, but forgot to physically renew the license.
Oh yeah, we've had that happen.
And wrote business for 6 months.
Oh no, we hadn't had that happen.
And they had to self-report to the DOI. They are in a state where the DOI is very strict. They had to self-report to the DOI. The carrier had to send non-renewal notices for every policy this person wrote. And I'm like, I'm not worried about me, but I'm worried about Johnny over there, that this is his first insurance job and doesn't understand the process and all that sort of stuff.
That you got it. Yeah, we had a Clint or somebody in our agency. No, it was for like 2 days. Same thing. You know, did the CEUs, passed it, but forgot to, what do you call it? Renew it? Like actually send them the money to renew the license. But it was only for like 2 or 3 days. It wasn't 6 months. That's ridiculous. Anyway, I'm
So
sorry,
if
Jason.
there's any kind of technology or any kind of thought, here's what I want to give agents that help them. Use whatever technology you want, but here's what you're trying to accomplish. Get your licensed people to be doing licensed work
Yep.
and have your licensed people not doing their work. So a lot of times AI is trying to come in and they're trying to do this or this. This is what I tell people. Find what AI can't do, put your people there, and build systems around that. That's what you need to do. Whether it doesn't matter what technology you use, if I'm putting the right people in the right place, you know, the old bus thing, put them on the right bus in the right seat, right, it'll go in the right way, all that. Well, essentially, that's what that means here. And that is our biggest problem. It's the reason why our staff is walking out the back door at the end of the day, pulling their hair out saying, did I get anything accomplished? Because we have people doing the wrong work. Not only that, when it comes to economy of scale, we can't afford to pay $40,000, $50,000 a year for someone to answer the phone, or someone to be doing basic sending out ID cards. Now, that doesn't mean go out and rent a bunch of tech, but what it does do is there's 5 things in an agency that every agency does, and it's about 65 to 70% of what they do. 5 things, and none of those things require a license. COIs, quote prep, changes. Changes, to be honest with you, do not require a license in the vast majority of the changes. And also, they can be done by a VE and then flagged, and then a licensed person goes in there. So there are actually only 5 of those things. And I talk about that inside my manual that I created. There's actually only 22 things that are done in an agency. I mapped every one of them out because I literally am a freak about this stuff. And I map them not only to the bucket, but to the task, but to the handler. Who should be handling that? I lay it all out in the manual for you because I want agents to, it doesn't matter the technology. Once again, Switzerland, it's this task. Who's doing it? How's it getting handled? Amazon does not get an order in and say, hey, does anybody have time to fill this box? No, they don't.
It's already
routed directly to the right person in the right facility, and they know exactly where it's going. They know when it's delivered. It's written back into their system, and they can measure it. And that's the whole point of the AI 2030 manual that I wrote.
The other problem too is a lot of the DOIs are not super clear on what an unlicensed person can do. You know, you had
Jason, I'm so glad Bradley just said this. He walked up me. To your point, I had to go all the way back to the start of the game Candyland 6 months ago. I had to call the Alabama Department of Insurance. This is a live call. I wish I had it pulled up right now. I'd let y'all listen to it because I have it recorded. They call me back, and I said, let me ask you sons of bitches something. What can a licensed insurance producer that has their license do versus an unlicensed person? And then we go into what I call insurance jeopardy, where
so originally they were like,
well, what's the unlicensed? What do you have them doing now?
Well, originally they said they
Did you
can't
hear
do
the phone call?
Yeah, you sent it to me.
Okay,
they
good.
can't do anything.
Yeah,
they can't do anything.
Said, oh, they can't do anything. Well, can they do this? Yeah, they can do that. Well, can they do this? Yeah, they can do that.
He literally named off 20 things, and everything was, oh yeah, they could do that. Oh yeah, they could do that. Oh yeah, they could do that. And I'm just like, well, what are we?
And about the only thing out of that call that they said an unlicensed person could not do was discuss coverages.
Yeah,
that's right.
But everything else I mentioned in this game we like to call insurance jeopardy, where she originally says, well, they can't do anything. And then I start just rolling question after question that she says they can do, they could do. And so it was a very awkward, strange, weird phone call.
See, that's where I think the big I can help you, because a lot of times the big I can answer those questions for you better.
Maybe that's who I should have called.
They more understand your side. There's also, I don't know the name of it right now. Somebody introduced me to a law firm, and this law firm specializes in like insurance compliance. They're somewhere around where you are, somewhere in the Midwest, as I call it, the Alabama of the North. Let's say you have some marketing campaign you want to do, right? And you know, one thing you write in multiple states, Cass.
Yep.
One thing that gets tricky sometimes is things can be 1,000,000% legal in one state and 1,000,000% not legal in other states. For example, I went to Ascend last week and I said, hey, it would be great if, as the admin, as the agency owner, that I could preset agency fees so my producers can't change it, increase it, whatever. And he said that we can do that, but the problem is if they do something in a state where it's not kosher,
Right.
you're gonna have a problem.
Right.
And so what you can do is you could actually go to this law firm and say, hey, this is what we're trying to do. And they'll give you a red, do not do this, a green, here's the version you can do, and here's a gray area, basically.
Damn.
But it's important, and I think the bigger you get, like if you're $2 million in premium, you're never thinking about making that phone call. But the bigger you get, you like, man, we need to make sure we, you know, I don't want to be I don't want to be an example for someone.
Well, and the reason I called, Cass, is my staff, to your point, was doing a bunch of this. Well, you know, an unlicensed person can't do that. And I said, no, I believe they can. No. If you're unlicensed, you're not supposed to do that. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna fix this. We're gonna get right with the Lord and figure this out one way or another, so we don't have to have this. We were getting into a conversation about once a month on what an unlicensed person versus a licensed person could do, and that's what preempted that call, which was so bizarre. But I'm glad you've done that manual.
And we've
if
got
you don't,
57 things you can do in an agency, not specific tasks that don't require a license. We have a list of them. But what we say is this: you can't propose coverage and you can't accept money. That's a big one, because when you accept money, you're kind of continuing coverage. Does that make sense? It could be like, but like, if we have a bill that comes in, can we process that? Yes. But if a customer comes in and says, hey, I don't have coverage, or hey, maybe my thing's due, or it might be due, there's too much gray area there. We don't allow anybody that.
Are you talking about? Are you
task.
talking about new, like a new business account where this is the first time, or an endorsement?
Well, I'm talking endorsements.
Okay.
Some of them can be done, but there's too much gray area because someone needed to check and make sure they had coverage. Why is the dude calling in the first place? No one hardly ever calls in to make their payment anymore. So that's what our rule is. Nothing. If you're discussing coverages or having to dictate it, nope, and nothing to do with money. That's kind of Cass's rule. From looking at the state of Illinois, most of the states do give some vague stuff, and it's usually 2 or 3 things. Can't discuss coverage, can't propose coverage. Some of them have said you can't collect money. That's where I kind of originally came up with that.
Yeah.
But outside of that, man, when it comes to finding commission statements, when it comes to, in our office, we do changes. So the VE is going to take that information, is going to put it in the system, go all the way through, but they're not allowed to hit that button. That's got to be flagged to a licensed person, and a licensed person comes back and does that. Even if the licensed person takes the information, it still goes to a VE to do, and then it comes back to the licensed person. So it just all depends. But I'm going to tell you, I think there's drastically more things that you do not need a license for than what you do when it comes to that. So just a thought. We've never really had to have that thought because it was always so cheap to hire people. You just were like, yeah, let's just go hire somebody. That's not this way anymore. Not only are they not cheap, but you can't find them. They're not here, you know? So that's the key.
What do you make of some of the rhetoric out there? You know, we were in the lobby of the office earlier today, and we were I made some funny videos on Grok and Sora this weekend. And I think you said, I mean, is this like regulated at all? You know, like there's got to be, 5 years from now, 0 videos on the internet are going to be real.
Right.
You know, I mean, you can create a video on Sora that looks 100% real, and my grandmother can't tell the difference. I can tell the difference, but how is that going to shift in a few years, you know?
Right.
What do you make of this rhetoric of we need to be careful with AI, more specifically communicative AI tools that are communicating with our customers? Is that covered under E&O or the carrier? Are we going to run into a big compliance issue? What's your thoughts on that?
Boy, I mean, I'm just like you,
Yeah.
Bradley. It's all over the place. I believe a couple different things, inside insurance and out. I believe that I can't remember the term now that they're using for it. It's but it's where it's called dead internet.
Yeah.
It's not exactly that, but it's something like that. It basically says that in 3 to 5 years, the internet would be a ghost town because it's just full of a bunch of bots and a bunch of BS that people are just getting tired of. I don't know about you, but I get mental exhaustion that I'm literally spending my time looking at something and I have to go research if it's real.
Yeah.
That's getting on my nerves, right?
Yeah.
And then there's also just like these real life things of like, I saw one the other day of a lady, or a kid was getting kidnapped and this guy was recording it. And like literally people were calling the police and it's like, no, this is fake. This one thing that's going around right now, I didn't know this until I was a couple days ago, but like kids, they'll send their mom and dad a video and say, hey, I came home and this guy was laying in our couch
Oh
and
my
there's a
God.
person laying in the couch and the parents are freaking out and calling the cops and the police are like, hey, this has got to stop. How we regulate it, I don't know, but it's got to be AI regulating AI. But when we turn it over to insurance, man, I don't know. It's somebody's going to be made an example of.
Yes.
It is kind of weird though how our brains are. After a while, our brains, we're so damn smart. We think this AI is smart, but how many times you use AI every day and you're like, this dumbass thing doesn't know what it's doing. It gets to the point where we start filtering things a lot better. And I
Yeah.
think we're just going to really start to go places. There's going to be some place that's going to be like, listen, we don't allow AI generated material. And I think you're going to have people choose this or that.
Yeah.
I don't know how you do that, but there's got to be some kind of watermark or
Yeah.
something that they can put on these.
Sure.
I think in terms of social media, it's going to be the platforms recognizing when I upload a video, oh, this is AI generated, and adding a tag to it.
It's got to.
And I could see a world where we can filter out. Like I'm looking at my timeline, I can filter out all the AI posts. Or I
Right.
can filter. Hey, it also might get so good that people only want to watch AI stuff.
I was gonna say that real quick. I think there's coming a time where we don't really care. Think about
Yeah.
other things. Think about a movie. Do I really care if an AI generated a whole hour and a half movie? No, because Steven Spielberg, he generates it with fake stuff all the
Yeah.
time. What we
Or
care
a
about
song.
is the
A
story.
song.
We
you
still
know?
care about the
Oh, dude.
connection is what we care about.
Have you listened to fake music?
No.
Have you listened to?
Oh
fake?
my God, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Eminem doing Motown.
So there's a.
I mean, Eminem taking his music and making it a Motown track is
Unbelievable.
incredible. They've redone a lot of music. It really has.
It literally is the first song that popped. So there's an AI band, and the name of it is Fake Music, and they take rock songs and make them
Ballads or
like soul songs.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
And it's
so
incredible.
Soul Night Long, which is the soul version of Shook Me All Night Long by AC/DC. It is fantastic.
It's fantastic. It's actually good music. It really is.
But I think too, one thing that's going to happen in this, I was just thinking about this weekend. So if we're comparing two communities, all right, we're comparing a impoverished, crime-ridden community to a suburb where there's no crime. All right, if somebody gets murdered in the suburb where there's no crime, people are freaking out. Right? It's huge news. Like this never happened. You know, you get the guy, this never happens here.
Right.
It's the type of neighborhood you can leave your door unlocked. You know, that kind of thing. But then you look at a crime-ridden, impoverished community, it's just another day because the people there are desensitized to it. You know, it's like if I'm walking down the street here in Mobile and I see somebody getting mugged, I'm going to freak out. I'm going to call police. But if I see that in New York City, like that happens 100 times a day there, you know, I think we're going to, and this scares me a little bit, I think because people are making these videos of a kid getting kidnapped, of somebody doing something crazy online to scare people, jump scare you or whatever, I think we're going to be desensitized to violence as it relates to being online. And I don't think that's necessarily a good thing.
No.
In terms of insurance, there's rhetoric out there that E&O companies are not going to cover mistakes by AI. And my answer to that is always, well, look, if I train an employee and that employee makes a mistake and causes an E&O claim, that's my fault for not training that employee correctly, right?
True.
If I build some sort of automation that's not AI related, but it's an automated text or something, and it misfires at the wrong time and tells somebody that I was the one that created that. And that's sort of how I look at AI, and people saying, oh, if this AI does something wrong, like it ultimately falls on the agent. Do I think we are going to have E&O companies that exclude mistakes made by AI? Sure. Do I think the good E&O companies will? No. But I attended a call recently. This was in the last 3 months, and I don't remember the organization. It was like National Alliance or one of those. And they did a call with some sort of person from some governing body, and it was on potential AI regulation. And I was on there, and Michael Blake was on there, who I'm friendly with, and he's actually on the opposite end of the spectrum of me of AI, and he and I have sparred a little bit in a friendly manner on LinkedIn around this. And the general consensus on there was, from the DOI standpoint, a lot of the regulation around AI is they are 100% looking at the carriers. They are not, and the actual companies, the vendors themselves that are releasing the AI, not necessarily the agencies that are doing this. So it made me feel a little bit better about it, but there's definitely going to be a watershed moment where somebody's made an example of for doing something they weren't supposed to do, and we all need to make sure it's not us.
Yeah, right.
So I think the opposite, in the fact that I think if you use a logic routing engine in 3, 4, or 5 years, you'll actually get a discount.
Yeah.
I say to the insurance companies, you guys, so if Bradley's driving his Tesla down the road and it's on fully autonomous and he wrecks, you don't cover that? No, you actually love to cover his Tesla because he actually makes less wrecks than everybody else does.
Yeah.
I think we just got to get over this scare and
Yeah.
all this stuff. But I think in 5, 6 years, when you're using automation, it's going to be obvious that these, and I'm not talking about just automation, I'm talking about agentic automation that's making decisions because it's been trained. It doesn't mess up. Sue Ellen messes up. What do they say?
Right.
It's like one wreck for, I'm making this up, but it's like one wreck for every 400,000 miles a Tesla or a regular driver, but one wreck for every 2 million miles every Tesla driver drives.
But this is where the media pisses me off, because
Come on.
if there's an accident in a non-self-driving car, it's just, oh yeah, there was an accident. But if it's a Tesla car crashes into a tree and explodes, and I'll tell you, when I got my Tesla, it was right before I had my first son, and my sister-in-law asked my wife, Jason, she said, y'all don't let that car drive you with that baby in it. And my wife said, the car drives better than Bradley does.
Yeah,
that's kind of how I look at like AI. Like I really feel like if the AI is deployed correctly, the AI is going to make less mistakes than a human will.
Correct.
There's
and people
mistakes,
who don't use it don't understand that.
And those of you that think you're perfect, your people in your agencies make mistakes every single day. They just either don't lead to a problem or you don't discover them. We discovered a problem on Friday, that was a mistake that was made on Friday that happened in March.
That's right. We had one of those a couple weeks ago too. Yep.
Jason Cass, I got to go. But before I do, I got 2 things I need you to do for me.
Yes, sir.
Need you, first of all, tell the audience again about your conference down in, I believe you said Hollywood, Florida, Fort Lauderdale.
That's
Tell
right,
them the
Fort Lauderdale.
dates and where to go to register if they want to come down and check out and be a part of that. And then to keep me from getting 185 emails about that damn manual you mentioned 2 or 3 times, because that's what's going to happen. I am going to get 300 emails about that son of a bitch. Tell everybody where they can go if they want to check out that manual.
agencyintelligencemanual.com, 100% free. My book's coming out in 2 weeks. Amazon's going to charge me $8. I'm going to charge $8.50 for the thing. I don't want to make any money off of this. I want to get this in many people's hands as possible. Whenever the independent insurance system gets better, we all get better.
Yep.
True fact, because I'm a geek. We control 61% of the premium that is written inside of America. That's over like 900 billion. That means that if for every 1% that we get more market share of P&C premium, that's an extra $1 million in revenue for every county in America. Believe me, I'm a geek. I love breaking that stuff out. You can also go to AI IndieTech. That's AIINDIETECH.com. IndieTech.com. So that's AI IndieTech. It's going on January 27th, 28th, and 29th. Once again, you're going to need to come the 28th and 29th because the 27th is already sold out. But that's our IndieTech. We've got about 51 vendors. They're not the big old huge boys like you got at AI. They actually will work in your system. Probably a lot of us already have them in our agency. We've got 27 classes that are taught by agents or by vendors who are having agents as the examples for how they use. So you figure out how to put it in there. And then we've got people like Bradley. And on the end of that last day, this is a cool little thing. Last day on Thursday, we're bringing in the DJ from the St. Louis Cardinals. His name's Todd Thomas.
He goes on right after Kirk Herbstreit.
Yeah, right after Kurt. We wait till the last. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. He's at the end. Thank you very much, guys, though, for giving me this platform. I mean, this is a fantastic thing. I put everything I have into this. And don't worry, I've already made enough money that I'm not going to lose any money this year. So
Awesome.
I'm actually happy about that. So
Awesome.
thank you.
Thank you so much, Jason. We appreciate you and we love you. I'm gonna wrap this thing up. Guys, as I end every podcast, rewards come from action, not discussion. Get your ass out from behind that desk today. Go out into the big bad world and be the mayor of your village. Go make money for your family, for your wife, for your husband, for your kids' college fund, for your parents and in-laws like mine that are struggling out there. Go make money for them. Write good business for the agencies that you represent, and write good business for the carriers that you represent. Bradley
That's right.
Flowers, I love you.
Thanks, man. Thanks,
Jason,
Cass.
I love you too.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Guys, you are listening to the Insurance Guys podcast, and we love each one of you. Thank you so much for being a part of our family, and we'll see you back here real soon. Take care.